Thousands of years ago, a massive meteorite crashed into Africa, and it was made of the strongest metal in the universe, vibranium. Its impact transformed all the plant life in the surrounding land. As time passed, 5 great tribes settled in that region. At first, they were locked in constant wars against one another, but one day, a warrior received a divine vision from the Panther goddess. She guided him to a mysterious, heart-shaped herb. The moment he consumed it, he gained incredible strength, unmatched speed, and senses far beyond those of any ordinary human. From that day on, he became the very first Black Panther and the king of Wakanda. 4 of the 5 tribes accepted his leadership, while the Jabari tribe chose to leave and live in the mountains on their own. Over the centuries, Wakanda used vibranium to create technology that was generations ahead of the rest of the world. But to protect both their power and this priceless metal, they completely hid themselves from the outside world. The rest of the world believed Wakanda was nothing more than a poor and underdeveloped nation, while the real Wakanda secretly continued to thrive in the shadows. In 1992 in Oakland, California, a group of boys are playing basketball outside their apartment building. Suddenly, a mysterious glowing aircraft appears high above the clouds. Inside one of the apartments, N'Jobu and his partner James are planning a major theft when someone suddenly knocks on the door. James grabs a gun and opens it, only to find 2 mysterious women standing outside with long spears in their hands. They demand that N'Jobu reveal his identity. N'Jobu introduces himself as the younger brother of Wakanda's King T'Challa. To prove it, he shows the special blue mark inside his lower lip, a royal symbol possessed only by members of Wakanda's royal family. Just then, King T'Challa himself arrives at the apartment. Both men respectfully bow before him. N'Jobu introduces his friend James to the king and says that he trusts him more than his own life. A few moments later, T'Challa explains that a dangerous criminal named Ulysses Clawey recently attacked Wakanda and stole a massive amount of vibranium. He even detonated bombs along the border, killing many innocent people. What shocked everyone the most was that Clawey already knew the secret location of the vibranium and Wakanda's entire security system. That could only mean someone from Wakanda had betrayed their own people. After saying this, T'Challa stares directly into his brother's eyes and asks, "Did you betray your own people?" N'Jobu firmly denies the accusation. At that moment, the king orders James to reveal his true identity. In the very next second, the truth comes out. James is actually Zuri, whom the king had secretly assigned to spy on N'Jobu during an undercover mission. The moment the truth is revealed, N'Jobu is consumed with anger. The man he trusted more than anyone else had been the king's spy all along. After seeing the evidence, T'Challa declares that N'Jobu will be taken back to Wakanda, where the tribal council will decide his punishment. At that very moment, N'Jobu's young son, Eric, watches the mysterious aircraft disappear into the sky. 26 years later, King T'Challa is killed in an attack. Now, Wakanda must choose its next ruler. According to tradition, the eldest prince inherits the throne, so all eyes are on T'Challa. But before his coronation, T'Challa travels to the Sambisa forest in Nigeria for an important mission. He must rescue his former lover, Nakia, from a group of criminals trafficking innocent people. T'Challa quietly hides in the forest, waiting for the perfect moment. As soon as the traffickers are distracted, Nakia seizes the opportunity and begins fighting back. Together, they take down the criminals one by one. The traffickers keep firing their guns, but Black Panther's vibranium suit effortlessly absorbs every attack. The bullets have no effect on him at all. After the fight ends, Nakia angrily asks why he interfered with her undercover mission. Just then, one of the surviving criminals grabs a woman hostage, but Okoye arrives at the perfect moment and takes him down in an instant. After that, T'Challa tells Nakia about his father's death and asks her to attend his coronation. Before leaving, Nakia frees all the captives and tells them to return safely to their homes. As soon as the 3 of them return to Wakanda, the breathtaking hidden nation appears before their eyes. The country that the outside world believes is poor is actually the most advanced and technologically superior nation on Earth. Its progress is far beyond anything the rest of the world could ever imagine. When they arrive at the royal palace, Queen Ramonda and Princess Shuri warmly welcome them home. Shuri is the brightest scientist in all of Wakanda. Nearly every advanced technology in the kingdom has been created by her. She happily tells T'Challa that she has upgraded his Black Panther suit, making it even more powerful than before. Meanwhile, at a museum in London, Eric is quietly examining a collection of ancient African artifacts. A museum employee soon walks over to him. Eric tells her that one of the ancient weapons on display was actually stolen from Wakanda, and now he has come to take it back. A few moments later, the poison mixed into the employee's coffee begins to take effect, and she suddenly collapses unconscious. Eric immediately calls out for help. Just then, his partners arrive disguised as ambulance workers. Among them is the infamous criminal Ulysses Claway. The moment they enter, Claway opens fire on the security guards while his team hacks into the surveillance cameras so the police won't notice anything. Using his powerful mechanical arm, Claway smashes the display case and grabs the vibranium weapon. Before leaving, Eric also steals a mysterious mask from the museum. With the mission successfully completed, the entire team escapes without any trouble. The next day, all 4 Wakandan tribes gather at the waterfall for the coronation of their new king. According to tradition, Zuri gives T'Challa a special drink that temporarily removes all of the Black Panther's powers. That way, if anyone challenges him for the throne, the battle will be completely fair. One by one, all 4 tribes accept T'Challa as their rightful king without any objections. But just as the coronation is about to begin, the Jabari tribe arrives from the mountains. Their leader, M'Baku, openly challenges T'Challa for the throne. At the start of the fight, M'Baku overwhelms T'Challa and easily knocks him to the ground, but T'Challa refuses to give up. He gets back on his feet and continues fighting with everything he has. A fierce battle erupts between the 2 warriors. At one point, M'Baku's spear cuts deep into T'Challa's chest, but after hearing the encouraging voices of his mother and sister, T'Challa regains his determination. He pulls out the spear, launches a powerful counterattack, and finally defeats M'Baku. Now, T'Challa has the right to kill his opponent because that is the rule of the challenge, but instead, he chooses mercy. He asks M'Baku to accept defeat and reminds him that the Jabari tribe still needs its leader. M'Baku is moved by T'Challa's compassion, accepts his defeat, and all of Wakanda erupts in celebration for its new king. Now, T'Challa is not only the king, but has also officially become the new Black Panther. But one final trial still remains. Following tradition, he drinks the juice made from the sacred heart-shaped herb once again. After that, he's buried beneath the sand, and within moments, his spirit enters the ancestral plane. There, he meets his father, T'Chaka, once again. T'Challa remembers the heartbreaking day when his father was killed. Even now, he carries the regret that he could not save him. A short while later, he finds himself in a mysterious forest where several Black Panthers are resting on the branches of a giant tree. One of those panthers transforms into T'Chaka. Father and son embrace each other, and T'Challa asks him how to become a truly great king. T'Chaka advises him to always keep trustworthy people by his side because the road ahead will not be easy, and many hardships are waiting for him. As soon as he hears those words, T'Challa awakens. The joy of seeing his father again is clearly written across his face. A few days later, T'Challa is walking through the streets of Wakanda with Nakia. He wants Nakia to stay by his side forever, but she tells him that her purpose is much bigger than living inside the palace. She explains that millions of people around the world are still suffering from poverty and hardship. Her dream is for Wakanda to use its power and resources to help them. But T'Challa knows that if Wakanda reveals itself to the world, its greatest secret will be lost forever. That is why he has kept his nation hidden for so many years. Hearing her thoughts, T'Challa smiles and tells Nakia that she will one day become an amazing queen of Wakanda. Sometime later, T'Challa goes to meet his friend Bukabi. Just then, Okoye sends an urgent message asking both of them to return to the palace immediately. At the palace, the tribal council gathers and learns that Ulysses Claway has stolen another priceless Wakandan artifact from a museum in London. They also receive information that Claway is going to meet an American buyer in South Korea the very next day. Claway has been hiding for years, so they know this may be their best chance to capture him. T'Challa decides that this time he will arrest Claway no matter what. Before leaving for the mission, T'Challa visits his sister Shuri's laboratory. Shuri equips him with several advanced gadgets, including a communication device with virtually unlimited range. Finally, she reveals his brand new Black Panther suit. The entire suit is stored inside a small, stylish necklace and can be activated with nothing more than a thought. To demonstrate its abilities, Shuri asks T'Challa to kick a training dummy. When he strikes the same spot a second time, T'Challa himself is thrown backward. The suit actually stores the energy from every impact it absorbs and then releases that energy back with several times more power at the perfect moment. The following night, T'Challa, Nakia, and Okoye arrive in Busan, South Korea. The 3 of them enter a nightclub where carrying weapons is so. Before entering, everyone is required to pass through a metal detector. Once inside, they split up to locate the buyer. Soon, T'Challa spots an old acquaintance, CIA agent Ross. During their conversation, he realizes that Ross is there on an undercover mission to arrest Claway during the deal. Ross plans to arrest Claway on the spot, but T'Challa firmly tells him that he will capture Claway himself and take him back to Wakanda. A short while later, Ulysses Claway arrives with a heavily armed group of guards. Just as the deal is about to begin, Okoye's identity is suddenly exposed. In the very next moment, gunfire erupts across the entire club, forcing T'Challa to reveal his true identity. The three of them immediately launch an attack on the criminals. T'Challa corners Klaue, but Klaue suddenly strikes with his powerful mechanical arm, sending Black Panther flying across the room. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Klaue manages to escape. Nakia and Okoye immediately chase after him, while T'Challa remotely takes control of his car with Shuri's help. During the pursuit, T'Challa catches up to the first vehicle and throws every gangster inside out of the car. The escaping criminals keep firing non-stop, but the Vibranium-made vehicle easily withstands every bullet. Meanwhile, Okoye tells Nakia to take over the driving. She then uses her special magnetic boots to climb onto the moving car and stops the enemy vehicle with a single throw of her spear. By now, Black Panther's new suit has stored the energy from every bullet and every impact it has absorbed. Following Shuri's instructions, T'Challa leaps onto the enemy vehicle and releases all the stored energy at once. In the very next second, the entire vehicle explodes into pieces. Now, only Klaue's car remains. Realizing that he is surrounded, Klaue climbs out through the window and fires a devastating laser blast from his mechanical arm. The attack completely destroys the Vibranium vehicle. Even after such a massive explosion, T'Challa, Nakia, and Okoye all survive without serious harm. Agent Ross quickly picks them up in his vehicle. At the same time, T'Challa's car is completely destroyed, and the explosion cuts off Shuri's remote connection. But at the very last moment, T'Challa jumps to safety and narrowly escapes with his life. T'Challa leaps through the air and lands directly on Klaue's vehicle, ripping one of its wheels right off. The car flips over violently. Klaue jumps out and launches another attack, but Black Panther's Vibranium suit easily withstands every blow. In return, T'Challa tears off Klaue's powerful mechanical arm. Furious, T'Challa is about to kill him on the spot, but then he notices the people nearby recording everything on their phones. He controls his anger, and Klaue is taken into custody alive. During the interrogation, Agent Ross asks Klaue about his mechanical arm. Klaue laughs and reveals that it was built using Wakandan Vibranium technology. Ross is stunned because he has always believed Wakanda was nothing more than a poor and ordinary country. Klaue then reveals another shocking truth. He says that the Vibranium he stole was only a tiny fraction of Wakanda's real supply. Hearing this, T'Challa realizes that if this secret is ever exposed, everything will change. Meanwhile, Nakia checks the security camera footage and discovers that the screens are not showing a live feed. She instantly realizes that an attack is about to happen. Without wasting a second, she rushes to warn the others. The very next moment, gunfire erupts throughout the police station. To save Nakia, Agent Ross steps in front of her and takes a bullet to his spine. Taking advantage of the chaos, Eric and his team rescue Klaue and escape. As they flee, Eric throws a grenade behind him. Without thinking twice, T'Challa dives onto it. His Vibranium suit absorbs the full force of the explosion, saving everyone nearby. T'Challa is about to chase after them when he notices a weapon that immediately catches his attention. It is a weapon that only Wakandans possess. As the enemies escape, he spots a royal ring hanging around one of the masked men's necks. That ring clearly proves the attack is connected to Wakanda's royal family. At that moment, Okoye arrives with terrible news. Agent Ross has suffered a critical spinal injury, and ordinary medical treatment cannot save him. He risked his own life to protect Nakia. T'Challa decides to take Ross to Wakanda so he can receive proper treatment. Okoye disagrees because taking an outsider into Wakanda is against the kingdom's laws. But T'Challa believes he must repay the sacrifice his friend made. As soon as they arrive in Wakanda, Shuri begins treating Ross using her advanced technology. Soon afterward, Yakabi comes to meet T'Challa. When he learns that Klaue has escaped once again, his faith in his king begins to weaken. Nearly 30 years earlier, Klaue's attack had killed Yakabi's parents, making the news even more painful for him. Meanwhile, Eric reaches a small aircraft with Klaue and the rest of his team. He tells Klaue to take him to Wakanda. Klaue immediately refuses because he knows going there would be nothing less than a death sentence. Without wasting a single second, Eric shoots the pilot and then points his gun at Klaue. To save himself, Klaue grabs Eric's girlfriend and takes her hostage. But in the very next moment, Eric shoots his own girlfriend without any hesitation. Even Klaue is left completely stunned. Now Klaue has no way to escape. Eric shoots him as well. Before dying, Klaue says that Eric will never be able to set foot in Wakanda. But then his eyes fall on the blue mark inside Eric's lower lip. He instantly realizes that Eric is not an ordinary man, but a descendant of Wakanda's royal family. After Klaue's death, Eric flies the aircraft to Africa all by himself. Meanwhile, T'Challa goes to Zuri to finally uncover the truth that has been troubling him. He wants to know what really happened to his uncle N'Jobu, because his father had always told him that he had simply disappeared. T'Challa explains that in South Korea, he saw the same royal ring around the neck of a masked man, a ring that only members of their royal family possess. Now Zuri has no choice but to reveal the truth. He explains that years ago, N'Jobu was sent to America to secretly monitor events there. While living there, he fell in love with an American woman, and together they had a son named Eric. After witnessing the suffering and injustice faced by his people in America, N'Jobu completely changed. He believed Wakanda should share its vibranium weapons with oppressed people around the world so they could fight for their freedom. But he also knew that King T'Chaka would never allow such a plan. So he betrayed his own nation and helped Klaue steal vibranium from Wakanda. When T'Chaka came to take him back to Wakanda for punishment, N'Jobu angrily pointed a gun at Zuri. To save his loyal friend, T'Chaka was forced to kill his own brother with a single strike. After that, T'Chaka ordered Zuri to make sure this truth was never revealed to anyone. The two of them left, leaving young Eric completely alone forever. The next morning, Eric arrives at Wakanda's border, carrying Ulysses Klaue's dead body over his shoulder. Seeing this, Yakabi is overjoyed because Klaue was the man who murdered his parents years ago. In that single moment, Eric earns Yakabi's complete trust. Meanwhile, Agent Ross regains consciousness. He is shocked to find himself walking normally, even after being shot in the spine. Just then, he meets Shuri. Smiling, Shuri tells him that she already knows everything about him. Ross is amazed by Wakanda's incredible technology. He asks about the glowing machines placed alongside the train tracks. Shuri explains that these special systems control vibranium's energy, allowing it to be transported safely at extremely high speeds. Just then, a message arrives from Okoye. She reports that an outsider has crossed Wakanda's protective barrier and entered the kingdom. At the same time, T'Challa is in the mountains with Nakia. He is deeply troubled after learning the truth the previous night. He regrets that his father abandoned his young nephew Eric instead of bringing him back to Wakanda. Just then, Shuri calls and urgently asks T'Challa to return to the palace. After arriving, Ross tells everyone that he knows the intruder. His name is Eric. He is a highly dangerous former U.S. Special Forces operative who has killed hundreds of people during countless military missions. Yakabi then brings Eric before the tribal council. There, Eric reveals to everyone that he is N'Jobu's son. That means the blood of Wakanda's royal family also runs through his veins, giving him every right to challenge for the throne according to tradition. Without hesitation, T'Challa accepts the challenge. Once again, the ancient trial by combat is about to begin at the waterfall. As the rules demand, all of Black Panther's powers are first removed from T'Challa's body. Before the battle begins, Eric declares that he has waited his entire life for this moment. Every scar covering his body is a reminder of someone he killed during his missions. He has spent his whole life preparing for one purpose alone: to defeat T'Challa and claim the throne of Wakanda. The moment the fight begins, both warriors charge at each other without holding back. T'Challa blocks Eric's deadly attacks with his shield and soon manages to knock him to the ground. He gives his cousin one final chance to surrender, but Eric has never been the kind of man to give up. He rises to his feet once again and launches an even more ferocious attack. T'Challa has the perfect chance to finish him, but he still refuses to take his own cousin's life. That single act of mercy proves to be T'Challa's greatest mistake. Eric strikes back and drives his sword straight into T'Challa's stomach. Just as Eric is about to deliver the final blow, Zuri steps in and confesses that he was responsible for the death of Eric's father. The moment Eric hears this, he kills Zuri without a second thought, and then throws the badly wounded T'Challa over the edge of the towering waterfall. Everyone believes that T'Challa is dead. To save their own lives, Nakia, Queen Ramonda, and Shuri flee the scene. Meanwhile, Eric is officially crowned the new king of Wakanda, according to the kingdom's ancient traditions. That same night, Nakia asks Okoye to help her fight against Eric, but Okoye firmly says that her loyalty belongs not to any person, but to the throne of Wakanda itself. Whoever sits on that throne is the one she is sworn to serve. Now Nakia has no choice but to act on her own. She leaves the palace with Agent Ross by her side. Meanwhile, Eric drinks the juice of the sacred heart-shaped herb and gains the powers of the Black Panther. Soon after, his spirit enters the ancestral plane where he meets his father, N'Jobu. Seeing his son, N'Jobu is overwhelmed with grief. Through tears, he admits that he made a terrible mistake. If he had taken Eric back to Wakanda as a child, perhaps his son would never have grown into such a ruthless man. Meanwhile, after taking Ross safely to Queen Ramonda, Nakia makes an incredibly risky move. She secretly sneaks into the sacred garden and takes the very last remaining heart-shaped herb with her. A short time later, Eric discovers what she has done. Furious, he orders the entire sacred garden to be burned down so that no one will ever be able to gain the powers of the Black Panther again. The moment he takes the throne, Eric finally reveals his true plan to everyone. He announces that vibranium weapons will be sent across the world so that oppressed black people can rise up and wage war against those who have oppressed them for centuries. Inside the council, only WCABI supports his plan. Everyone else disagrees, but no one dares to openly oppose the orders of the new king. Meanwhile, Nakia, Queen Ramonda, Shuri, and Ross travel to the mountains to seek help from the Jabari tribe. Nakia wants to give the last remaining heart-shaped herb to M'Baku so that he can can become the Black Panther and defeat Eric. Queen Ramonda believes M'Baku should take the power for himself, but Nakia knows that defeating Eric will require the strength of the entire Jabari army. So, she hands the sacred herb over to M'Baku. As soon as they enter the cave, the Jabari warriors capture them and bring them before their leader. Now, the last hope of Wakanda rests entirely on M'Baku's decision, but M'Baku shocks everyone. He takes them to a hidden place where T'Challa is still alive. One of the Jabari fishermen had found him unconscious near the waterfall, and ever since then, they had kept him alive by preserving his body with ice. Queen Ramonda prepares the juice from the last remaining heart-shaped herb and gives it to T'Challa. Within moments, all of his powers return. As soon as he regains consciousness, T'Challa decides that he will reclaim his throne no matter what. Shuri hands him the Black Panther necklace. After that, T'Challa privately thanks M'Baku and asks him for the help of a few warriors, but M'Baku refuses to take part in the battle. Even so, T'Challa returns to Wakanda on his own. He declares before everyone that he is still alive, which means the fight for the throne is not over yet, but Eric refuses to face him in another challenge and declares himself the rightful king. At the same time, Eric orders Vibranium weapons to be shipped to different parts of the world. Meanwhile, Shuri rushes to her lab and asks Agent Ross to help stop the aircraft carrying those weapons. From a remote station, Ross takes control of a fighter jet and heads out to destroy every aircraft before they can cross Wakanda's borders. Outside the palace, Yakabi leads his army into battle against T'Challa, but this time, Okoye chooses to stand with her true king. She orders her warriors to fight against Eric's forces. Within moments, all of Wakanda is transformed into a battlefield. Many warriors are forced to fight against members of their own families. Meanwhile, Nakia tries to stop Eric while Shuri attacks him with her Vibranium gauntlets, but neither of them can stand against the power of the Black Panther, and both are quickly defeated. Seeing his sister in danger, T'Challa charges at Eric with all his strength, and while chasing him, both of them enter the Vibranium train tunnels. There, their final battle begins. T'Challa tells Shuri to activate the trains. As each train passes, the stabilizers temporarily disable both Vibranium suits for a few seconds. Now, the two warriors are fighting like ordinary men without any protection. Above ground, the battle is almost won by Eric's forces, but at that very moment, M'Baku suddenly arrives with the entire Jabari army. His arrival completely changes the course of the battle, and T'Challa's side quickly regains the advantage. Meanwhile, Agent Ross manages to destroy every aircraft carrying Vibranium before they can escape. Now, Eric's entire plan begins to fall apart. During the final duel, T'Challa is on the verge of losing, but the moment the stabilizers activate again, he seizes the opportunity, knocks the weapon out of Eric's hand, and strikes him through the chest. T'Challa never wanted to kill his own cousin, but it was the only way left to save Wakanda. With his final breaths, Eric makes one last request. He wants to watch the beautiful Wakandan sunset that his father had always told him about. T'Challa takes him to the mountaintop where Eric looks at that breathtaking view one last time and peacefully leaves this world forever. Sometime later, T'Challa once again becomes the king of Wakanda. He thanks Nakia for standing by his family until the very end. Then, he asks her to stay in Wakanda and promises that from now on, Wakanda will use its strength to help the rest of the world. A few weeks later, T'Challa and Shuri travel to Oakland, America. T'Challa purchases the same neighborhood where his uncle N'Jobu lost his life. That place will now become Wakanda's first international outreach and science center. Nakia will oversee its operations while Shuri will share Wakanda's technology and knowledge with the world. The very first people to benefit from the center will be the same children who once played basketball on that very court. And with that, Wakanda begins sharing its power with the world for the very first time.